Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday morning, October 26th. The Mid-Atlantic region continues to be socked in with plenty of low-level moisture, some light rain and drizzle, patchy fog as well. One more day with these kind of damp conditions in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. But a cool frontal system passes through the Mid-Atlantic region later on tonight, and it certainly will make some changes by the time we get to Thursday. Plenty of sunshine likely on Thursday to go along with a noticeable breeze. It'll be a cooler day, and a cooler and drier air mass is definitely on the way for Thursday and Friday. Before we get to the weather situation in the Mid-Atlantic region, let's take a look at the tropical outlook here for the next week or two. And let's start off by looking at the latest sea surface temperature anomalies. We've, of course, talked about this particular type of a map here showing a La Nina condition in the central and eastern part of the tropical Pacific Ocean, right here shown in blue. This horizontal line represents the location of the equator, and this is your La Nina that we discussed in detail in the winter outlook. Take a look at it at the seasonal outlooks page on the weather website of arcfieldweather.com. Again, La Nina, this is the third straight winter in which La Nina will exist. It's colder than normal sea surface temperatures in the tropical part of the Pacific Ocean. Another area of interest, certainly, not only for the upcoming winter, but for the end game, the potential end game here in the Atlantic Basin tropical season. Very warm waters relative to normal up across the North Atlantic, and warmer than normal conditions in the Caribbean Sea and the southwestern part of the Atlantic Ocean. We'll see in a moment. This is kind of an area of activity right now, and it certainly looks like an area of potential tropical activity over the next week or two. And we've talked about this extensively over the past couple of videos. This is certainly something we'll watch, the potential end game to the tropical season in the Atlantic Basin over the next couple of weeks. Oftentimes there's some surprises, some pretty big storms, tropical storms. At the same time, colder and colder air masses are trying to push into the central and eastern U.S. from western Canada, and we'll see if that actually develops over the next couple of weeks. But again, overall warmer than normal conditions in the Atlantic Ocean, especially the North Atlantic, and a continuation of La Nina in the tropical Pacific. Well, there are specifically a couple of areas of interest right now over the western part of the Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea. We'll see a satellite image in a moment here, but first of all, there's kind of a wave that will just kind of meander around over the next several days over the western part of the Atlantic Ocean. It looks like it'll stay off the eastern seaboard, certainly something we'll monitor, but again, a tropical wave will meander off the east coast over the next several days, something we'll monitor. There's signs that something could very well form over the Caribbean Sea. We saw a moment ago the sea surface temperature anomaly still showing some very warm water, and in many spots of the Caribbean Sea, warmer than normal water this time of year. Plenty warm enough to still produce a tropical storm or even a hurricane. It's something we'll monitor over the next several days. This is the outlook, by the way, for the next 5 days as depicted by NOAA's National Hurricane Center. Basically a meandering type of system over the western Atlantic, and potential for some activity here developing over the next several days in the Caribbean Sea region of the Atlantic Basin. Well, one last image with respect to the tropical situation. This is a colorized infrared satellite image from Wisconsin CIMSS website, which is a very good website to get some tropical information. First of all, kind of an elongated area of thick clouds here. There's one kind of low-level disturbance right in this region right here, and this is that same system that looks like it'll kind of meander around the western Atlantic over the next several days, probably not have any kind of a direct impact on the eastern seaboard. Meanwhile, down in the Caribbean, there's some certainly some bands of showers and thunderstorms here that we'll have to be watching. Another one out in the far eastern Atlantic that we'll also have to be watching. Again, temperatures are still plenty warm in the Caribbean Sea and the southwestern part of the Atlantic. that something of importance may develop over the next week or two. Certainly something we'll continue to monitor here at arcfieldweather.com. Well, let's get back to the continental U.S. here and take a look at last night's operational run of the GFS at 0Z. There is one wave of low pressure already sitting out over the western Atlantic, but that other area is farther to the south and east, developing down here in the southwestern part of the Atlantic. This is the system that will kind of meander around for the next few days. Meanwhile, socked in low-level moisture in the mid-Atlantic region, lots of drizzle, fog. Clouds will remain for much of the day today, but here we go. We have a storm system that was pretty potent down in this part of the country, helped to produce some severe weather across Texas. It's weakening, but it has enough of a cool frontal system that it'll really clear out all this low-level moisture in the mid-Atlantic region by the time we get to late tonight, early tomorrow. Sunshine returns in pretty much full force on Thursday in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, where it has been very limited over the past several days. Well, now let's push ahead on this particular run of the GFS, and again, it's kind of a weakening system here, but it has enough of a push with that cool frontal system to drive that low-level moisture out of the mid-Atlantic region. Cold enough for some snow up across the Hudson Bay region of Canada later on today into tonight. And then high pressure pushes in. Nice, cool high-pressure system here will dominate on Thursday and into Friday in the Great Lakes, in the Mid-Atlantic region, in the Northeast U.S. Again, all this low-level cloud, all this drizzle and fog will get on out of here later on tonight with the passage of that cool front as far as the Mid-Atlantic region is concerned. And here is that kind of a weak tropical system that we'll monitor over the next few days well off the East Coast by the time we get into tomorrow afternoon, but something that just kind of meanders around, and it's something we'll have to watch over the next few days as high pressure pushes into New England by Friday afternoon. And that's always a little bit of a concern when you have high pressure over New England and a little tropical wave down here. Sometimes they can undercut that ridge and head towards the coastline, but it looks like there'll be a kind of a kicker coming in from upstream here that will tend to inhibit the chances of this system impacting directly the East Coast here. Something we'll watch, and this disturbance is also something we'll watch. This is the Monday morning forecast map for October 31st, Halloween Day. So there'll be a weak tropical system out over the western Atlantic and a disturbance moving across the Midwest. Could very well throw some showers into the Mid-Atlantic region by the time we get late in the day on Monday into Monday night. And that's important for two reasons. First of all, it's Halloween, and this will certainly be of concern if there's some showers. And it's World Series in Philadelphia returns from Houston, where they will play on Friday and Saturday, and then return to Philadelphia for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So this is something that certainly will be of concern as we get to the early part of next week. So a lot going on in the world of weather. It looks like all this low-level moisture in the Mid-Atlantic region that has been socked in for the last few days will finally give way and push on out of the Mid-Atlantic region by the time we get to late tonight and early Thursday. Meantime, very warm waters in the Atlantic Ocean will certainly warrant close monitoring of any tropical activity over the next week or two. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.